Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home, Spider-Man has never been more popular. The main trailer shattered records, pulling over 700 million views in its first 24 hours and crossing 1 billion views in just 4 days. What a milestone. In 2021, we were treated with a cinematic, glorified experience for the ages. With No Way Home, with not one but 3 Spider-Men, Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. What a treat. But we were left with many questions and a cliffhanger that needed to be addressed. Peter lost everything. His friends don't remember him, the world has forgotten who he is, and for the first time in the MCU, he's completely alone. And honestly, without spoiling much, it was an emotional roller coaster. The build-up of this movie was important. Of course, we have the returning cast members coming back. Tom Holland as Peter Parker, Zendaya as MJ, Jacob Batalon as Ned Leeds, and the new cast members of John Berthenol as the Punisher, Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, and Sadie Sink as... And that's the main talking point here. Until now, we have no idea who she is playing. Is it Gwen? Is it Jean Grey? Or is it possibly Rachel Summers? It would make more sense based on the trailer. Who is the main villain? We know Tombstone, Scorpion and the Hand are in the movie from the trailers, but who will be the main threat for Peter? A huge mystery. Speaking of going in blind, Daredevil Born Again Season 2 ended abruptly with Matt in prison, and with the scenes from the trailer with Spider-Man fighting the Hand in the prison, I said before in a previous video that I am fairly sure we will have a cameo of Daredevil in this movie. The question is, was I right? Let's find out. The premise of this movie was about Spider-Man, and you might be thinking, well duh, that is the whole point of the movie, and yes it is, but it does it in such a unique way. By the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, Peter made the ultimate sacrifice. He chose to let the world forget who he was in order to save everyone else. That meant losing his friends, his relationship, his connection with Ned, and even the support of the Avengers. For the first time in the MCU, Peter has become the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man we've always known from the comics, a hero with no safety net. After the multiverse, alternate Spider-Man, and universe-ending threats, scaling things back feels refreshing. Not every Spider-Man movie needs to be about saving reality. Sometimes it's enough to focus on Peter protecting his city. He had to live with the guilt of keeping this huge secret, and that is such an important theme in this movie, and that's what makes the premise of Brand New Day so compelling. Instead of trying to undo those consequences, this film embraces them. His identity as Spider-Man versus his identity as Peter. Super alter egos sound boring to some. Well, not in this movie. This movie probably has one of the best stories of dealing with an identity crisis I have seen in a superhero movie thus far. You really do feel sorry for Peter during this whole movie. He had to put the burden of this secret on his shoulders for the entire movie, and ultimately he paid the price. This resulted in him losing control over his powers and becoming more spider than man, hence the dark eyes from the trailers. Honestly, this movie gave me a lot of throwbacks to Tobey Maguire's movie, especially with the scene on the rooftop. If you know, you know.
Shazam! Go! Go! Go, Web, go!
That doesn't mean the stakes are low, they're just more personal. Emotion is the biggest factor in this movie. We feel the emotion from multiple characters, one of them I will go through in more depth. For MJ, it was an emotional roller coaster because she did not know how to cope with Peter's decision not to give her that letter and ended up reading it herself. For Peter, it was the biggest roller coaster ever. Picture the tallest roller coaster in the world, but bigger. He went through it all: rejection, heartbreak, reminder of lost ones, and hope. If there's one thing that this premise succeeds at, it's making Spider-Man feel human again. It reminds us why Peter Parker has remained one of the most beloved superheroes for generations. Honestly, the best Spider-Man movie visually. This felt like I was playing Insomniac's Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, but on a much bigger screen. Every frame is packed with detail, but it never feels overwhelming. Instead, the cinematography works hand in hand with the story, making every swing through New York and every emotional moment feel more impactful. I watched this on Screen X, which is essentially a 270-degree projector screen, and the scenes of Spider-Man in action was a really amazing experience. Some of the angles of his swinging around the city felt breathtaking and mesmerizing. During the action scenes, the camera isn't just following Spider-Man, it moves with him. You genuinely feel the momentum as he dives between all the skyscrapers, swings around corners, and narrowly avoiding obstacles. It creates a real sense of speed and scale, making you feel like you're soaring through Manhattan alongside Peter. New York itself becomes a character in the film. The city feels alive. It fully embraces the relationship between Spider-Man and New York. Spider-Man's suit looks incredibly detailed with realistic textures that catch the light naturally instead of looking overly digital. The action choreography also benefits from excellent cinematography. Rather than relying on rapid cuts every few seconds, many sequences are allowed to breathe. It's a great example of how cinematography being used to enhance emotion rather than simply showing off impressive CGI. We see Peter confined in new characters, not the OG team from the previous movies. Good to see a cameo from Yelena, confirming that the new Avengers are in place ready for Avengers Doomsday. She acted as a small role to get Spider-Man to talk to his old friends. She gave him the initial push. The Punisher was a light addition to this movie, which is funny to say. We know that his character is a messed up individual who kills people who he feels like. But to put him in a Spider-Man movie was a bold choice. He was a person that left a hole in Spider-Man's heart, if you get what I mean. Frank became a mentor for him, someone who can look after Peter at his most vulnerable, and we get good chemistry between them, and a debut for him on the big screen, which is great to witness. At the center of it all, it's Peter, and this is arguably the most mature version of Tom we've seen. He delivers a performance that balances both sides of Spider-Man perfectly. Can we also talk about the aura farming, that scene when Spider-Man broke the sword from the hand member and said, "I am both Peter Parker and Spider-Man"? Cinema. One of the biggest trends of the film is how it introduces new relationships without making them feel like replacements of the characters we've lost. Rather than trying to recreate Peter's friendships with MJ or Ned, the story allows new characters to bring different perspectives into his life. The film delivers characters that feel authentic, relatable, and true to what always has made Spider-Man such an enduring hero. One major talking point of this movie: who is Sadie Sink playing? And finally we get confirmation. No thanks to Steve Lacy, like what was he thinking in this clip?
I like Jean.
Okay.
She's the villain, but like there's a reason to her madness.
Okay. Is that a spoiler?
Like, it's not even out in the US and you just spoil it for people? What a twat. Anyway, this is one of my predictions, so I'm not too mad. Ladies and gentlemen, Sadie Sink is our new Jean Grey, which makes sense why we have no returning Jean Grey announced in Doomsday, and she was the villain. But not your typical villain, a misunderstood one, a hidden gem. At first she was tormenting Spider-Man and causing chaos around New York, but we later see that she was only trying to save her sister, Sasha. Now this has sparked some debates, as this is our first introduction to Jean's sister and her backstory. She is mentioned in the comics, where we get our first live adaptation. I guess the real enemies are these corporations who always have a hidden agenda. Sadie played the young Jean very well and redeemed herself in this movie into someone Peter could trust, and into a character we could see in future projects, most likely in Secret Wars. Also, did anyone catch that V Max reference? A subtle hint to her playing Max of Stranger Things, a nice double entendre from the director. Excited for more in the future. As much as I enjoyed Spider-Man Brand New Day, no movie is perfect and there are some flaws. So many damn product placements were just too hard to ignore. I noticed the Samsung Bearer, which is basically Tom's non-alcoholic beer, and the one in the car. I'm probably nitpicking this, but it all felt a bit forced, as all good product placements do. Another area for improvement is the development of some supporting characters. You probably noticed I did not mention one important character, Hulk. That is because I feel like he did not add much to the movie. While we were able to see a version of Hulk which we were not able to see in the MCU thus far, I feel like he did not add much to the story, more fan service than story progression. Which is not much of a dig, but an improvement. The other villains were underutilized. Scorpion's involvement was minimal, but Tombstone literally had no screen time at all. Like, what was the point? The other villains just had little cameo, nothing to get hyped for, just like an O and
it's gone.
The usage of the hand was underwhelming. Like, why were they in the movie? They were made to be used like fodder. No real threat as they were in the Daredevil series. Which brings me to what question I needed answering. No Daredevil in this movie. Looks like Charlie Cox was telling the truth. In my opinion, I think it was a little bit of a missed opportunity, but we did already see him in No Way Home. Finally, I feel like Ned's friendship with Peter could have been explored more, as they were best friends. We got some moments, but MJ's romance heavily outweighed Ned's friendship with Peter. So what did that post-credits scene mean? We got an alert of Ned's Spider-Man tracker app tracking another Spider-Man from another Earth, separate from the current Spider-Man being tracked. Here are my theories. Introduction of Miles Morales being a Spider-Man from another Earth. We have been yearning for any mention of Miles for ages, and we could now finally have that. Tom Holland has mentioned that once Miles gets introduced, we will do it right, and you will know. Which makes me think that this would be the least likely outcome. Spider-Man being involved in Secret Wars. As of now, we are led to believe that Tom Holland's Spider-Man will not appear in Doomsday. So this could be an indication of Tom's involvement in Secret Wars, as we do get a message saying that Spider-Man will return. Tobey Maguire will be in Avengers Doomsday. Now the alert does not specify which Spider-Man is being tracked, and for them to have no setup for Doomsday, and this is the only movie before Doomsday, it looks like this is the most likely option. The information we predict is that Tobey's Earth will collide with X-Men's Earth to cause an incursion as a part of the Doomsday lore, and them just saying Spider-Man will return with no real specification of which one makes it more plausible. As its title suggests, this is a brand new day. The film understands what makes Spider-Man special. It doesn't try to outdo No Way Home by making everything bigger. It instead goes into the opposite direction. It tells a more personal, grounded story that focuses on rebuilding Peter's life after losing everything. The performances are strong across the board, and the cinematography makes New York feel vibrant and alive. More importantly, the emotional moments feel genuine. Of course, it's not without its flaws. What excites me most is what this movie means for the Spider-Man's future. Brand New Day feels less like the end of a chapter and more like the true beginning of Peter Parker's adult life. Overall, Spider-Man Brand New Day is a strong addition to the franchise. It may not be perfect, but it's heartfelt, visually impressive, and packed with qualities that make Spider-Man such an enduring icon. It's the kind of film that leaves you smiling as you walk out of the cinema, already wondering what will happen next. I would give Spider-Man Brand New Day an 8.5 out of 10. It's an exciting new beginning that respects the past while confidently looking forward towards the future. If you enjoyed this video, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did Brand New Day meet your expectations, or were you hoping for something different? And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and tap the bell to get notified. And I'll see you guys in the next one.